Imagine this. You're standing in front of a mirror, maybe before an important meeting, maybe before a date, maybe before hitting send on an email you've rewritten 5 times. And suddenly, a voice inside your head whispers, "You're not good enough. They'll see through you. You're going to fail." You try to shrug it off, but the voice doesn't stop. It keeps poking, criticizing, doubting, until your chest feels tight and your confidence drains away. That voice is not real, but it feels real. It's not a fact, but it feels like the truth. And the cruel part? That voice lives inside you. It's your own inner critic. We all have it. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's brutal, but we know how paralyzing it can be. It can ruin opportunities. It can poison relationships. And worst of all, it can make you doubt your own worth. But what if I told you there is a way to switch off that voice in just 3 seconds? Not fight it, not argue with it, not drown in it, but literally switch it off like a light. That's what I want to show you today. Here's the first thing you need to understand. Your inner critic is not your enemy. It's not even a separate monster living inside your head. It's a protective mechanism. It evolved as a survival strategy. Imagine a caveman about to go hunting. If his mind whispers, "Be careful, don't screw this up, you might get hurt," that's actually useful. It keeps him alert. But in our world where we're not fighting lions, that same mechanism attacks us when we're just trying to give a presentation, start a conversation, or share an idea. Your brain thinks it's protecting you, but in reality, it's suffocating you. And here's the key. You cannot fight the critic head on. The more you argue with it, the louder it gets. The more you try to silence it, the stronger it becomes. That's why most people stay trapped for years. But what you can do is break the loop in 3 seconds and flip your brain into a completely different mode. So here's the framework I want you to remember. It's incredibly simple, but it changes everything. 3 seconds, 3 moves. Notice, name, neutralize. Let's break it down. Step 1. Notice. The most powerful moment is the very first second when the critic appears. Most of us don't even realize it. We just start believing the voice. The thought comes in, "You'll fail," and we don't label it. We just feel the fear. But when you notice, you create a space. Neuroscience shows us that awareness changes the brain's wiring. The moment you notice, you shift from being inside the thought to observing it. So the first second is about catching it. Think of it like hearing a fire alarm. You don't argue with the alarm. You just notice, "Oh, that's the alarm." Same here. "Oh, that's my critic." That's it. No analysis, no fighting, just noticing. Step 2. Name. This is the next second. The trick here is to give your critic a ridiculous, almost cartoonish name or image. Why? Because humor and exaggeration disarm fear. If you call that voice the Doom Goblin or Mr. Blah Blah, suddenly it loses authority. Neuroscientists call this reappraisal. By renaming the voice, you change the emotional weight it has. If you simply say, "Oh, that's Mr. Blah Blah again," your brain instantly shifts from threat mode to observer mode. You're no longer fused with the thought. You're holding it at arm's length. This single act of naming cuts its power in half. Step 3. Neutralize. This is where the switch happens. In the 3rd second, you do one simple physical gesture to anchor yourself in the present. It could be snapping your fingers, placing your hand firmly on your chest, or tapping the table once. The gesture is crucial because your brain cannot stay trapped in a mental loop when you give it a physical interrupt. It's like throwing a stick in the spokes of a spinning wheel. The loop stops. And as you make that gesture, you say to yourself, "Not useful. Back to me." Short, direct, unemotional. That's it. 3 seconds. Notice, name, neutralize. The critic is gone. Now you might be thinking, can it really be that simple? Doesn't the critic come back? Of course it comes back. But here's the secret. Every time it does, you repeat the 3 seconds. And with repetition, something profound happens. Your brain rewires. Think about a dirt path in the forest. Every time you walk down it, it gets clearer. But if you stop walking there and start taking a new path, the old one grows over. The more often you interrupt the critic, the weaker that neural pathway becomes. And soon, you won't even need the full 3 steps. Just noticing alone will be enough, because your brain will automatically neutralize it for you. Let's go deeper into why this works. Inside your brain, there's a structure called the amygdala. It's the part that reacts to threats. When your critic speaks, it lights up the amygdala, flooding your body with stress signals. But when you insert awareness and humor, you actually activate the prefrontal cortex, the rational, calm part of your brain. That switch takes only seconds. And the physical gesture completes the circuit by grounding you in your body. pulling you out of the mental spiral. In other words, you're hacking your own nervous system in real time. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're about to walk into a room to give a presentation. Your critic whispers, "They'll think you're boring. You're going to mess this up." Normally, your heart rate spikes, your palms sweat, your confidence crashes. But this time, you catch it. First second, "Oh, that's the critic." Second, "It's just the doom goblin again." Third second, snap your fingers and say, "Not useful. Back to me." Suddenly, your chest loosens, your focus sharpens, and you walk into that room with presence. The critic is gone. Not forever, but long enough for you to act. And action is all that matters. Now here's the part most people miss. Switching off your critic is not just about feeling better in the moment. It's about unlocking potential. Because think about it. How many opportunities have you lost because you hesitated, doubted, or froze? How many times have you not spoken up, not tried, not shared because of that voice? Every time you silence it, you reclaim your future. You create a new identity, not someone who is ruled by fear, but someone who acts anyway. Over time, this becomes who you are. Let's pause and imagine this. Imagine a day where every time your critic appears, you flick it off in 3 seconds. How much lighter would your day feel? How much energy would you save? How many bold moves would you make? This is not theory. This is neuroscience combined with practice. And the more you use it, the more natural it becomes. Soon, your critic won't even scare you anymore. It will just be background noise, easy to dismiss. You'll walk through life with a kind of quiet confidence because you know that voice no longer controls you. But I want to leave you with a question. What if your critic is not the problem, but the doorway? What if every time it shows up, it's not a threat, but a signal that you're on the edge of growth? Think about it. The critic never shouts when you're safe in your comfort zone. It appears when you're about to do something meaningful. Speak up, take a risk, share your truth. So every time you hear it, instead of shrinking, you can say, "Ah, this means I'm doing something that matters." And then, 3 seconds, switch it off and step forward. Because the presence of the critic means you're exactly where you need to be. This is the skill, not silence forever, but mastery in the moment. And mastery in the moment is what shapes a lifetime. Now let's make this even more practical. I want you to actually try this right now, wherever you are. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine your inner critic speaking to you. Maybe it says, "You're lazy." Maybe it says, "You always screw things up." Or maybe it says, "Who are you to even try?" Hear that voice clearly for just a moment. Now step 1, notice. Say to yourself silently, "That's the critic." Step 2, name. Call it something funny or absurd. The doom goblin, the drama queen, or even the broken radio. Step 3, neutralize. Snap your fingers or press your hand to your chest and say, "Not useful, back to me." Feel that? That tiny shift is you taking the wheel back. That's the 3-second switch. Simple, quick, powerful. Here's why this tiny habit is so much bigger than it looks. Most people wait for confidence to appear before they act. They think, "When I finally feel ready, then I'll do it." But the truth is the opposite. Action creates confidence. And what blocks action? The critic. By switching it off in 3 seconds, you remove the barrier. That means you act first. And when you act, confidence follows. In other words, silencing the critic is not just about peace of mind. It's about creating momentum in life. And momentum is everything. Let's look at this through another lens. Identity. Your inner critic loves to keep you tied to old labels. It says, "You're the kind of person who always fails," or "You're the one who stays quiet." But every time you silence it and act anyway, you're rewriting that script. You're saying, "No, I'm the kind of person who speaks up. I'm the kind of person who tries." And the brain learns from repetition. With each 3-second switch, you are not only stopping a thought, you're building a new identity. Think about that. You're not fighting your old self. You're creating your new self one moment at a time. Now, there's something important to understand. Your critic doesn't disappear forever. It will always return in some form. But here's the empowering truth. Its presence is not a sign that you're broken. It's a sign that you're growing. The critic only shows up when you're on the edge of something meaningful. If you're about to do something safe, something that doesn't stretch you, the critic is silent. But when you step up, when you risk, when you aim higher, the critic wakes up. So instead of fearing it, you can welcome it as proof that you're exactly where you should be. And then, switch it off in 3 seconds and move forward. Here's a powerful reframe you can carry with you. The critic is the price of admission to growth. You don't pay it in suffering, you pay it by mastering the 3-second switch. That's it. Once you know this, every time it speaks, you'll feel less afraid and more ready. Because you'll think, this is just the toll. And I know exactly how to handle it. So let's tie this all together. 3 seconds, 3 steps. Notice, name, neutralize. Each one is simple, but together they form a system. And the system is powerful because it doesn't rely on motivation, willpower, or endless self-analysis. It works in the moment, when you need it most. Imagine catching your critic in the morning before it ruins your whole day. Imagine switching it off before a crucial meeting. Imagine silencing it right before you share your art, your voice, your truth. That is freedom. Not the absence of fear, but the ability to act anyway. And here's my challenge to you. Don't just think about this. Don't just nod and say, "That's interesting." Try it today. The very next time your critic appears, do the 3-second switch. Notice, name, neutralize. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Use it in the small ones. Because if you practice it in the little battles, you'll be ready for the big ones. And when the big ones come, you won't hesitate. You'll step forward with clarity, with confidence, with presence. The truth is, you don't need to live with that harsh voice running your life. You don't need to be at its mercy. You have the power to silence it, to shrink it, to step beyond it. Not in months, not in weeks, but in 3 seconds. The switch is already in your hands. All you need to do is use it. So here's my invitation. The next time you hear that voice whispering doubts, try the switch. Give it a silly name, snap your fingers, and remind yourself, "Not useful, back to me." Do that, and you'll feel the space open, the fear dissolve, the confidence return. That's the moment you reclaim yourself. That's the moment you live from your true self, not from your critic. And if you make this a habit, if you carry it into every day, I promise, you will become unstoppable. Because nothing is more powerful than a human being who no longer listens to their own inner lies. The critic may speak, but you choose whether it rules you. And from this moment forward, you know how to switch it off. 3 seconds, that's all it takes. Now it's your turn. Use it today and watch how your life begins to shift in ways you never imagined.